On tonight's show, Pope Francis dead at 88. Plus, a mob of teens take over a Chicago neighborhood, a baseball legend celebrated, and a return of Chicago's iconic cherry blossoms. This and more on tonight's episode of Chicago This Week. Good evening, and welcome to another episode of Chicago This Week. I'm Abby Feldman. We begin tonight with the death of Pope Francis. The Vatican says the cause of death was a stroke followed by heart failure. The Pope's death follows a battle with multiple health issues that left him hospitalized for more than a month. The Catholic leader spent his final days celebrating Easter and meeting with Vice President J.D. Vance. Catholics are honoring Pope Francis in churches around the world as they enter a period of mourning. Here in Chicago, police react as mobs of teens take over a downtown neighborhood. Our own Peggy Hellman brings us this report.
Chicago police are on high alert, preparing for potential teen takeovers in Streeterville. They've increased their presence and are employing new technology. This after a 15-year-old was shot and killed last month in Ogden Plaza Park. Nearly 300 teens took over the area, and videos on social media show the teens dispersing following a physical altercation. Streeterville residents say these events are unsettling.
It's very alarming. I've been in the Streeterville area, this is my third year, and it's something that is troubling, and I think we need to get a handle on it for sure.
It's frequent. See them once in a while.
Residents also say they've noticed an increased police presence by Whole Foods Market, AMC, and Ogden Plaza Park. Chicago's Office of Emergency Management and Communications set up geofence perimeters around the plaza to prevent vehicles from picking up or dropping off passengers in this area. They were installed on Columbus Drive and Park Drive, from Illinois Street to North Water Street. Alderman Brendan Riley informed Streeterville residents of the police plans in a memo.
I think the police cars help. They definitely they make a statement, that they're here.
But some residents and visitors say the police presence is shocking.
It was police on every corner, and you don't want to have to feel that way, just like walking my dog or going to the movie or just going to have a bite to eat.
The Chicago Police Department and 42nd Ward say they will continue to monitor the situation. In Streeterville, I'm Peggy Hellman, Chicago This Week.
Thanks, Peggy. Another group is taking over downtown this week. Thousands protested against President Donald Trump in Daley Plaza. This, just weeks after the nationwide hands-off rallies. Alexia, can you tell us what made this protest different?
Community impact was a key theme of last week's protest. Beyond just traditional activism, thousands of attendees also brought non-perishable goods to support grassroots mutual aid.
Yes, we can!
Thousands flocked to Daley Plaza and marched through the Loop last Saturday in another nationwide protest against the Trump administration.
I am angry and afraid of everything that's been happening the last several months.
Trump shouldn't be in office, and he's taking away our rights every day.
We don't want this administration. I don't think that they got in legally.
Here I am supporting all that matters, like the Constitution.
I'm here for all of our rights, the right of freedom, the right to choose, the right to speak our piece, and the right to be heard.
The gathering, called the People's Protest, was organized by the 50-51 movement, short for 50 protests, 50 states, one movement.
We're a grassroots organization that started bare bones with just people who were tired of sitting on the couch saying, hey, my democracy's on fire. What am I doing here?
Beyond marching and chants, attendees were encouraged to bring donations supporting grassroots mutual aid.
I was just stunned at how much donations, the generosity, but I shouldn't have been, because the people who believe in democracy and freedom are generous people.
Over 30 bags and bins full of donations will benefit Peace in Pilsen, a community-led organization serving unhoused people and underprivileged youth in the Pilsen area.
This really shows and creates that bigger impact where people are donating and fueling the same movement that you're part of.
In downtown Chicago, Alexia Cadota-Browner, Chicago This Week.
Thanks, Alexia. Next up, an anti-Semitic act at Northwestern University. Chicago This Week's Riley Cook headed to the scene to learn more. Riley, what did police tell you?
Abby, the graffiti is all cleaned up now, but Northwestern police tell me the investigation is open and ongoing as they review security camera footage to determine whether the perpetrators are students.
Vandalism at Northwestern leaving students and staff on edge. Security cameras capturing a group of masked suspects spray painting anti-Israel messages on campus buildings, across from the iconic rock at the center of school. The act occurring amid Passover and prospective Students' Day.
It was very jarring that it was on a holiday, that we were really in celebration mode. This was really kind of a painful way to start the day on Monday.
University President Michael Schill denouncing the graffiti as anti-Semitic, a call the head of Northwestern Hillel agrees with.
This is not a blurry line on this stuff, and why, I have no hesitation. And the president of the university, in his message, there was no hesitation. He didn't reference whether it was anti-Israel or not. He said, this is anti-Semitic. These are hateful slogans. And I agree with him.
The vandalism comes amid federal funding freezes and national scrutiny of anti-Semitism on college campuses. Still, Simon says Northwestern's response was swift and strong.
I commented in our statement about appreciating the seriousness and the speed with which the university responded. For those I do hear from, they feel very reassured by the way in which the university has taken this very seriously.
Now, university police say they're stepping up security to make students feel safe, something the Evanston Police Department says it's been taking seriously too.
As a police department, we pretty much always kind of have those things on the radar, and especially since October 7th of last year, we have had elevated patrols of our synagogues and our mosque.
Still, Schill says Northwestern's Jewish community is choosing celebration over fear.
This is a joyful time, and it's a really resilient community. And these kinds of things are really unsettling, and they also remind us that we're living in a really challenging time. But our steady state is to be leaning into joy and leaning into community.
Reporting from Evanston, Riley Cook, Chicago This Week.
Thanks, Riley. Next, lawmakers in Illinois propose a new legislation in a fight for affordable housing. Our Grace Friedman reported from Springfield to learn more. Grace, what did you learn about the proposed bill?
Abby, I spoke with lawmakers and advocates who say they are fighting for a bill that can bring thousands of homes to Illinois.
Homes that people can actually afford. That's what lawmakers in Springfield are fighting for.
Illinois is facing an affordable housing crisis. We're really not producing enough homes, which is driving our state's affordability crisis.
The bill is called the Build Illinois Homes Tax Credit. The goal is simple.
It would help to produce over 5,000 affordable homes over a 5-year period, and really help to incentivize developers to bring more affordable homes and apartments to the state.
For people with low incomes, the shortage is stark.
There's a shortage of approximately 290,000 affordable and available rental units for extremely low-income households.
Statewide, housing and rental prices are higher than ever.
Data came out earlier this year that we reached a new median high of rent prices in Chicago. So it's not like just home prices for sale are going up, rent prices are going up too.
Advocates say the problem could get worse if lawmakers don't act fast.
So we really need a shift in priorities, really a fundamental shift in priorities by all levels of government in our society, where we're treating housing as a basic human need, as a basic human right.
For Chicago This Week, I'm Grace Friedman.
Thanks, Grace. Now, our Annalise Cornejo Garcia reports on substance use among Gen Z during the 420 holiday. Annalise, what's the data saying?
Abby, recent research suggests young people are largely changing the alcohol industry. And for the first time, it's because they're taking their money elsewhere. Around St. Patrick's Day, Amani Brown celebrated 1 year of Cookies Retail, a dispensary in the Fulton River District.
Cannabis was one thing that continued throughout COVID, throughout a lot of crazy things.
Come April 20th, Chicagoans are celebrating a different holiday, trading in ABV for CBD. And recent research might support a budding, larger trend. A Gallup poll found the percentage of young adults consuming alcohol is down 10% in the past 2 decades. At the same time, Illinois officials say revenue from cannabis sales has increased by $100 million since it was legalized in 2020.
Statistically speaking, I kind of find that hard to believe.
Statista reports revenue from non-alcoholic beer and wine sales is expected to quadruple by the end of the decade. Celebrities like Tom Holland and Katy Perry are investing in drinking alternatives, each launching their own sober-friendly drinks within the past 5 years. Young adults I spoke to say social media may influence their peers' perception of alcohol, redefining what the cool kids are consuming these days.
The alcoholic persona isn't as popular, that's not really something people flaunt about.
In the Loop, Annalise Cornejo Garcia.
Thanks, Annalise. Substance use trends aren't the only ones changing. So are the ways we consume our food and groceries. I headed to the Crate Free USA conference to learn more about shifting consumer values in Chicago. Check it out. From cage-free eggs to plant-based plates, ethical food isn't just a trend, it's a shift in consumer values.
Only 4 in 10 Americans trust what they buy at the grocery store is humanely raised or the animals are treated well.
At this conference at DePaul University, advocates explain why they don't trust producers. That's why they want change.
Most of those are in livestock facilities we call CAFOs, where they're experiencing intense confinement. Pigs and chickens, they're in cages where they can't even turn around or even flap their wings. We're talking about roughly 95 billion land mammals a year slaughtered and raised just for food. 85 billion of that 95 are chickens alone.
But consumers are paying attention and pushing the market forward. Sales of ethically sourced food jumped 13% in the past year, and 67% of shoppers now say animal welfare impacts what they buy.
We've made extreme progress by consumer demand and going from single digits to 40% in just a few short years.
Whether it's apples or oranges, for many, ethical eating starts with knowledge and a shift in how we think about our food system.
Ethical food consumption means to me knowing what the transparency, understanding what's part of your food system.
Experts say there's still a long way to go, but the movement for ethical food is no longer a secret. An easy way to get involved in ethical consumption is through shopping local. Our Avery Feldman headed to the Green City Farmers Market to learn how local efforts are working to change the future of food. Avery, can you tell us about some of the sustainability efforts at the market?
Yes, the market promotes environmental protection and responsible animal treatment. Rain or shine, fresh local produce is available for Chicago residents.
Mushrooms are just one of the items to be found at Green City Market, a nonprofit farmers market in Lincoln Park, West Loop, and Avondale.
We're celebrating 26 years of being a nonprofit organization focused on a mission to secure the future of food through supporting sustainable local farmers, providing food access and education programs to the Chicago community.
GCM hosts 67 vendors offering fresh produce, eggs, cheeses, baked goods, and plants. It is the first farmers market in the country to require a third-party sustainability certification. 70% of the vendors are farmers.
The remaining 30% are ready-to-eat and prepared food vendors, and those vendors are required to source the majority of their ingredients from the farmers that we have here at Green City Market.
The market brings together the community, with over 600,000 customers predicted to come this year.
The people here are all really happy to be here. They like to come here every Saturday and get their groceries, and it's fun to have a conversation, see what they're doing with all the different produce.
Just connecting with other vendors as well. I think the vendor-to-vendor relationships are really important, and we work really hard to try to uplift each other's products.
The market supports SNAP and Link cards, matching 3 times the spending, which goes directly to vendors.
It feels like you're making more of an impact if you're giving money to people who you can see and shake their hand.
Leftover food is donated to local food pantries. The market runs until the end of November. I'm Avery Feldman for Chicago This Week.
Thanks, Avery. Don't go anywhere. Up next, Chicago celebrates a baseball legend, plus an MLB hopeful worth keeping an eye on.
Hi, I'm Simone Roberts.
Roberts, and this is Chicago This Week Sports. We cover everything from basketball and soccer to even field hockey. But we start tonight with baseball, more specifically, one player's impact on the game. Jake Mrzowski was in Wrigleyville for Jackie Robinson Day. Jake, how did Chicago honor number 42?
The number 42 is retired by all 30 MLB franchises in memory of Jackie Robinson, the first African American to play in the modern MLB. But every April 15th, that's the only number you'll see on a baseball field. Both on the north side and south side of Chicago, number 42 was honored. While the Cubs didn't do it on April 15th, they held their own ceremony. Check it out.
Every April 15th, there's only one number you'll see on an MLB field. 42. That's because of Jackie Robinson.
His story must be told because it integrated the leagues, it integrated the nation, and it rippled throughout the universe.
Robinson's legacy was celebrated on both sides of Chicago.
Jackie Robinson himself, he went through milestones and just hurdles just to be able to play. So for me, when I go to a game, I mean, it's everybody that gets to play. It just shows how important baseball is to every single baseball fan out there.
On South Side, there were plenty of people honoring Robinson as the White Sox took on the Athletics.
His legacy always carried on to that, but I mean, just knowing that he was allowed, he was able to just do it and just clear out all those negative thoughts and everything, and just still continue to do what he loves is pretty great.
Though the Cubs were on the road on April 15th, they held their own day for Robinson on Friday against the Diamondbacks.
Well, I like that the MLB celebrates it, but I really like that the Cubs did their own individual celebration at Wrigley.
Right.
So I think it's important for the local people here in a home game to see that.
I think the players really like playing on this day too.
Whether in Chicago or anywhere in America, Robinson's impact on baseball will forever be remembered.
Shout out to Jackie Robinson for paving the way. Shout out to him for showing them that sports are about fun and connection and not about
This
color.
is about Jackie Robinson. In Chicago, Jake Mrzowski, Chicago This Week.
Thanks, Jake. Now from an MLB great to the story of an MLB hopeful. Izzy Begley sat down with one of the country's top baseball prospects. Izzy, what can you tell us about him?
Thanks, Simone. Lincoln White East senior Jack Bauer has been generating some serious buzz in the baseball world for throwing triple digits several times. But it's not just the heat he's throwing that makes him special. This is what a 102-mile-per-hour pitcher looks like. He's one of just 6 lefties to ever throw that hard. All are in the majors, except Jack Bauer is still in high school.
He's a special talent, and but I think it's just his mental approach is what I've learned about him that makes him really special.
He has a chip on his shoulder at all times, like everything bothers him.
It's not just the speed that stands out for this Lincoln White East senior, it's character.
Just an incredible teammate. He's a great leader within the group. I think he's willing to give to others, and I think in return he gets a lot back.
For this potential first-round MLB draft pick, friends and family still come before sports.
Jack was always the baby brother. The 2 older sisters, they were both very instrumental in his life. They've kind of molded him into the kid that he is.
Dad has been the biggest part of my life. I'd say he's been the guy that pushes me the most.
Bauer is now used to having scouts behind the plate, and he welcomes the pressure that comes with it.
I just know it's a privilege, and every single time I step out on that mound, I've talked to myself and I say I'm grateful. I'm grateful to have this opportunity to play baseball, and I'm grateful to have this pressure on me.
Jack Bauer's future is wide open. Whether it's a first-round MLB pick or a college career at Virginia, his next chapter is just getting started. From Frankfort, Illinois, Izzy Begley, Chicago This Week.
Thanks, Izzy. In college sports, Northwestern's field hockey coach signed a contract extension after their championship season. Our Amanda Prokowski has the story. Amanda, the coach led the team to multiple titles over the years, right?
It's true, Simone. Coach Fuchs is the winningest coach in Northwestern field hockey history.
This year, Coach Fuchs led the Northwestern field hockey team to an NCAA championship win. And with her recent contract extension, she'll continue to build on that legacy with the Wildcats.
I couldn't be more excited. I'll be here, until I retire, most likely.
In a statement released by Northwestern Athletics, Athletic Director Mark Jackson said, "It's easy to point to the on-field success, the 4 consecutive championship games, and most recently her 2nd national championship this past season, as justification for this long-term extension. But Tracy's leadership has such a deeper, more profound impact on our entire community."
Everything about her is super pure, super honest, super authentic, and I felt like that was the main reason why I wanted to come. I wanted to be coached, and she's a great coach. She has so much experience.
Tracy leading the way as the head coach, that's why you stick around, because someone like that is teaching you and leading in such a powerful way. You want to stay and work for them.
Coach Fuchs and her staff were recognized by the National Field Hockey Coaches Association as the Coaching Staff of the Year. And with Coach Fuchs' extension, that leadership will continue.
We do like to brag that that's the longest 3-person coaching staff in the country, but I just think consistency, it adds a level of comfort and just normalcy, I think, to the day-to-day for our student athletes.
One thing I would say that she definitely helps with is kind of the stigma around mental health. She definitely makes sure to check in with all of us, and I feel super supported, not just on the field, but off the field, and you could tell her anything, and she'll figure out a way to help you.
In the end, you want to develop strong, young women to go out in the world and do good things.
In Evanston, Amanda Perkowski, Chicago This Week.
Thanks, Amanda. Over the weekend, the Chicago Fire faced off against FC Cincinnati. Anthony Lowe covered the game. Anthony, what can you tell us about the match?
Thanks, Simone. The game was a 5-goal thriller, but unfortunately, the Fire lost the match. Here are the highlights.
Chicago Fire welcomed Eastern Conference rivals FC Cincinnati to Soldier Field on Saturday night, looking to capitalize on their home advantage. However, it was Cincinnati who ultimately left the Windy City with all 3 points after a tightly contested 3-2 victory. Cincinnati drew first blood early, with the Vanders' deflected shot finding the net in the 9th minute. The Fire responded in the 31st, with Hugo Kuipers notching his 6th of the season to level the score. But Cincinnati struck again just before halftime, as Kevin Denke slotted past Chris Brady in the 42nd minute. The second half saw end-to-end action. Evander then secured his brace in the 71st minute, putting Cincinnati firmly in control. Brian Gutierrez offered a late glimmer of hope for the Fire, converting an 85th minute penalty. Despite a late push, the Fire were unable to find an equalizer. FC Cincinnati held firm to secure their 4th consecutive win and maintain a top spot in the Eastern Conference. The Fire, now with a record of 3 wins, 3 draws, and 3 losses, will be disappointed to drop points at home.
And, we can talk all we want, pre-match and during the week about what type of team we want to be, but now it's about going out on the pitch and doing it. And I don't feel like we bought enough today, and we didn't deserve to win that game.
I don't think it's pressure. I think there's just a lack of realization that we have to come here understanding that this is our home, this is our fortress, and we can't let people come in and take points, even ties. I don't think that's our standard. I don't think it's acceptable.
The Fire will be looking to regain their form as they play against Nashville SC next week. I'm Anthony Lowe, Chicago This Week.
Thanks, Anthony. In basketball, the Chicago Bulls fell short in making playoffs. Blake McQuarrie went down to the United Center to talk to fans. Blake, how do fans feel about the Bulls' future?
Yes, Simone, the Chicago Bulls would unfortunately fall to the Miami Heat 109-90, but as they reset for next season, the Chicago faithful is looking forward to where the franchise is heading. Bang! Woohoo!
Bulls in 2.
Playoff basketball in Chicago. 2 things that haven't gone together since 2021. With a spot in the NBA's playoff play-in tournament, fighting to break that void leaves Bulls fans with mixed emotions.
Well, about as excited as you can get. Season was looking like it was lost, so hopefully we win tonight.
I think it's really good to be in the play-in. I honestly did not expect us to be in the play-in at all.
I'm actually so excited because of reasons that I don't want to say on camera, but I do have some parlays cooking, and let's hope they get in that playoffs.
With star player Zach LaVine being shipped to Sacramento in the middle of the season, Bulls fans held their faith in 2 of the younger stars.
Looking like Kobe White gonna have to be the guy. I like Matas, he's pretty good too.
Matas he's been stepping up big time.
Failing to win the play-in, the Bulls will shift its focus to next season. As for the fans, they remain hopeful for the future.
I'm really, I got hope in the future. Yeah, I think the future is very hopeful.
From the United Center, I'm Blake McQuarrie, Chicago This Week.
Thanks, Blake. Last Friday, a local high school basketball team celebrated their third state championship. I went to Bronzeville to see how the team celebrated their milestone win.
Balloons, confetti, and the roar of the crowd from the stands. The De La Salle Southside United team makes history. They're the first team to complete their three-peat basketball championship.
So this is history right here.
I know, it's insane that they've done a three-peat to start. That is literally history in the unified world.
The United basketball team came together only 2 years ago, showcasing students with and without intellectual disabilities.
And they're able to really participate as any other student in the state of Illinois that's in high school. They get to participate the same way. And I think that's the coolest thing about it.
The school celebrated the team's 53-50 victory, and they entertained the crowd by taking on the teachers in a game they know best, basketball. And while basketball was at the heart of it all, they had a motto that pushed them forward.
He came up with a saying, it's called NWG, and it means now we go. And ever since the first year, that has carried with us all 3 years, and I'm sure as this program continues, it's going to stay as a staple for them.
Their hopes for the future? That everyone will see their teammates are just as talented as everyone else.
Don't judge a book by its cover. I feel like a lot of people judge a lot of special people based off their looks. Oh, like, oh, he can do this, oh, he can do that.
I want them to gain what any other kid, student, athlete would gain out of this team. I want them to gain teamwork. I want them to gain experience and memories from the rest of their teammates.
In Bronzeville, Simone Roberts, Chicago This Week.
Thanks, Simone. Finally, hints of spring beginning to bloom in Chicago. Our Katie Lacavara headed to Jackson Park to check out the return of the cherry blossoms. Hi, Katie.
Hi, Abby. It's been 2 years since any cherry blossoms bloomed in Jackson Park, but this year they're back.
Spring has sprung in Chicago, and the cherry blossoms in Jackson Park are finally back.
We were not disappointed. It's very beautiful here.
People from all over have come to see their triumphant return.
We're having anywhere from 1,500 to 6,000 people a day on the weekends.
It's been 2 years since they bloomed, and park officials say it's due to climate change.
We have longer winters, warmer winters, and we've got springs that don't last very long. So that process of kind of slowly easing into it doesn't happen anymore. And so the cherry trees, because they're so sensitive, they'll hold still and they either won't open or bud, or they will just leaf out.
The cherry blossoms were first planted in 2013 and represent an important part of Chicago history.
This is the spot for the Center of the World's Fair, and it's the first place that Japan opened its doors to the rest of the world. And so cherry trees really represent that relationship.
While the bloom is fleeting, park officials say the beauty of seeing people enjoy nature is the best part of all.
It's wonderful to see families, it's wonderful to see people enjoying themselves, interacting with strangers, just being symbiotic with the landscape, embracing the beauty of the trees and the ephemeral nature of what nature gives us.
From Jackson Park, Katie Lacavara, Chicago This Week.
Thanks, Katie. And thanks everyone for watching tonight's episode of Chicago This Week. We'll be back next Friday with more. Have a great night, everyone.